Alright, hello everybody, and good afternoon. Hopefully I have the sound correct on this one, so anybody that's here right now, if you could please let me know if you can hear both the music and myself, that'd be greatly appreciated. But alright, so continuing on with this challenge here, this is another one that I'm hoping to at least make some decent headway on. So, as you may know, by the end of this challenge, I basically plan to have an entire party at max level. Basically, in order to get the title, it's pretty much advised to be at or close to max level. Quite frankly, it's just, yeah, I mean, it's the hardest, not technically the hardest, but it's the highest scaling fight in the game for a reason. Namely, because you're not supposed to be there. So yeah. Right now, I've gotten a few class marks of the ones that I wanted out here, so, we'll be hopefully wrapping up with that pretty soon. I was hoping to get ninja marks early and, get them auto-training all that stuff in, but truth be told, it's kind of looking a little bit more practical now just to maybe train them up as Beastmasters for a while, pick up the entire team, tame and subdue, which will be handy later on down the line. And yeah, probably just go ahead and carry over all their bow training to make that happen. So gonna do one more fight here just to see if I can get a couple more class marks. It would be very handy to have Dragoons, but oh well, we don't technically need them for now. More or less my end game goal here is probably like 4 Archers, 4 Dragoons, and probably I don't know, we'll see. We'll see on the last ones. I want to say 2 ninjas and then 2 of something else, just to try to keep it not super overpowered. Because let's be honest, you can go with an entire team of archers. Like the only secondary thing that could be argued as being, useful out of that entire bunch of ideas right there, is the fact that Dragoons are, if you're doing an Ironman run, like you could, in theory, get through the entire thing using only archers. Dragoons are mostly useful for the purpose that they'll be able to take care of the stuff that archers can't. So let's see, how are we doing on those class marks now? I didn't even look what the hell we picked up. Actually, I don't know what we even had from last time. So we can go Knights, get those up a little bit. We can go Terror Knights. We can make them do Clerics for a little bit, probably Wizards again. And yeah, I only got 1 of each of these, so that's going to be a no-go for now. But I do have Beast Tamers, so, we'll go from there. So back to Farampa, and back to breaking out those short bows. So this right here is the only time when short bows are actually something that you want to go ahead and upgrade. So if we go down to ranged weapons, short bow +1, we just need short bows, Teneri, and hemp. So, alright, let's go pick up a few of those. Namely, let's pick up 8 of them. Let's go to these right here. Pick up some hempen stuff. I'm actually going to pick up the rest of these because I'm going to need some of these later. And then we go down to timber. Go ahead and make some Teneri out of this. You may notice this actually looks way nicer than last time. Because, yeah, I never actually tried to see what would happen if I turned up the resolution on this latest version of PBSSPP. And sure enough, it can actually run without looking like garbage, or without suddenly lagging like crazy also. So, very handy. So we'll get ranged weapons, get those up a little bit. They're going to have 1 fight with basic short bows, and then they're going to have 1 fight with these. Right, let's... hang on, I didn't make enough timber, did I? More Teneri, please. Yeah, it's funny, because I was literally just saying last time, like, oh, there's no reason to do this. There's technically a reason to get some of these early game craftables, it's just, it's questionable. It's like they literally just have a craftable in there for the sake of speeding it up slightly. I mean, we're talking about short bows that are going to be useful for, like 5 levels. And even then, this is like only if you're going back and circling around for a second round of those classes. So there we go, that's fine. We can probably go pick up some great bows as well. Actually, probably not. Let's go pick up another 8 of these. Probably should have just upgraded them right off the bat, but oh well. Now, he's a fencer for the time being. So we'll go Beast Tamer. Beast Tamer. And I'll turn off all of this fast-forwardy business in just a minute here. I just want to skip past all these animations. As we do. I guess technically speaking, we didn't need those full 12 class marks, did we? A little bit rusty since last time, not gonna lie. but that's just life in a nutshell for you. He can technically be a beast tamer, but do I want to overpower him? Yeah, why not? He's Canopus. Why not overpower him? And then, yeah, Felicia for sure, just because she's good luck Felicia. You know what? Doesn't matter which version you're playing, she's just good luck Felicia. And, yeah, then we get these ones. The lizards cannot be beast tamers in this version, I don't think. No, they can just be warriors and berserkers, so we're going to keep them separate for the time being. And, yeah. Buy a few more short bows here. There we go. Seems I'm a bit short. How did you know? Alright. So armor actually matters at low levels, so let's go pop some crap on these folks. That'll probably do. Just basic armor and a bow, why not? They'll be pretty quick, they'll be pretty strong, they're going to have way higher weapon ranks than they usually would at this point. So no big worry right there. I mean, it is what it is. We have the option to retreat anyway, so worst case scenario we can just get out of there until they eventually succeed. That's kind of the one reason I decided not to do no retreats for this one. Like, I've done no retreats multiple times, and it's just... it's alright, I guess. Just truth be told, it's not a very fun way to play the game. So we'll give you one. These guys are going to fly up in levels pretty much immediately, so there's no need to over-equip everyone. Probably give Albin and all that a little bit of extra experience here. I don't remember what Albin's deal is. What is he here for? Can I just randomly hire him for the sake of having a beast tamer? Looks like it. His skills kind of suck, screw it. Let's just kick him out of here. What's funny is that, yeah, most of the time the people that you're hiring are your enemies. So they almost always threaten you when you tell them to leave. What douches? To douches. Alright. And then let's stick one more in here. How about good luck Felicia, please? Here, let's get her back here. Do we need Canopus? Not really, but they're going to be at a level disadvantage for this one fight. So I'm going to go ahead and have them in here. And then we'll just alternate between all the different units as time goes on. Alright, pause it real quick, and set Felicia to AI. Now, I should point out, the whole reason that they're going to be better here is because, technically speaking, they can carry over some of their skills. He forgot to bring his bow skill along. The rest of these guys at least have some training in bows, they've got some training in other things. But yeah, they've got anatomy. Oh, crap, right. I should have left those guys with their crossbows, shouldn't I? Well, poo. That's a real shame. So, you know, they've got some extra skills, but point being, they've got their extra stats, they've got their extra skills, they're going to be fine. So we're going to fast forward through this real quick. Let them go take some shots. They're going to have a harder time with the lizards, especially early on. Again, they're coming in with a 3-level deficit here. In some cases, it's usually a 1 to 2 level deficit, because 2 is the lowest, 3 is kind of normal. But yeah, as you can see, Canopus is throwing out 70s for crying out loud. It's ridiculous. So there's rain. Some of them are not going to have the necessary skills to deal with it. We'll probably give them True Shot down the line. Especially early on, it's going to be pretty useful to carry these guys through. Normally you don't need True Shot until... Well, I guess True Shot's main use is actually early on, what am I saying? Like, True Shot, True Strike, all of them, they're basically just there as a crutch until you get your weapons skill up. Which is weird. That's kind of the reason that they were removed, or one of many reasons that they were removed in One Vision, I'm assuming. Because they just were really weird there, because they're like, hey, here's this limitation for your characters, would you like to completely ignore it? It's like, okay? Like, but you can ignore it for a while, and then you won't need it later, because another skill will take over. It's like, but why didn't you just have some sort of baseline accuracy here, then? What's the point of all this? But, oh well. Such is life. At least it lets you overcome some stuff early on. Like, that's why I've said on multiple occasions, this thing is more RPG than SRPG at some times. Because quite frankly, the way that you're building your characters will oftentimes just be like, oh man, I want this guy to be good at these specific things and nothing else. You know, this is going to be his character. And yeah, Odd limitations. Odd limitations. So we'll just keep redoing this. Like, even if we end up failing it, if we get 1 to 2 kills here, it's going to be enough to throw them another level. It's going to make the fight a lot more fair. As you can see, they already have the advantage. I just don't want to lose anyone here. So it's just the lizards who they can't exactly deal with at this point. And even those guys are already getting pretty low. So they might be fine. They might not need to redo anything at all. In fact, if Canopus will ever end up getting a crit here, he'll probably just end up one-shotting one of them. Or rather, at least finishing off that one. Oh, you could have rolled a 12. Come on now. Come on now, there's no need for all that. Alright, that's one lizard gone, and yeah, they're going to win it. No questions, even if 2 of them get knocked out right here, they're perfectly fine. And this is why there's an AI button in this game, because you can completely skip a lot of things. But it does speed up training. You know, it's pretty darn quick, like. Yeah, gonna take a few little plinks to deal with that lizard. Come on, lizardman. Get you dead. Yeah, they're doing more damage with their shields, which almost never happens. It actually only happens at low levels. It's funny, only low levels or way later on when you get really good shields and you're attacking a squishy. It's funny how they did that. Kind of missing the OV shields already, where you can just like shield bash something a lot better than you can with some ranged weapons. Alright. There's that stuff out of the way. Okay, crossbow, blessing stone, just free loot for the most part. And we're already up at level 7. So they got a ton of extras out of that one. All their skills went up by a few points, as you can tell. Alright, let's pop you up to this. Let's give you some better armor. I'm just gonna be completely off with. I'm just gonna be completely tone deaf. Whatever. It happens. It happens. Funny part is, yeah, the mail weighs as much as the leather. And yeah, before somebody mentions it, I know, mail is pretty light. I know, I've mentioned that several times myself. It's fine. I know. But it's not well, actually, it's pretty similar to leather. Who are we kidding? It's slightly more. Like, it wouldn't be any more encumbering to, you know, any reasonable human being that's probably getting into this kind of situation, but, you know, I'm sure you get what I'm getting at here. Am I getting at anything? That's the question. That's the real question here. Anyway. Let's throw all this out here. Let's throw this out here. And Felicia. You're Sarah. Go away. Felicia. I know, you've got worse stats. You're definitely not built for this. Doesn't even matter. You are gonna be a champ. I don't care if it takes extra effort. She's making it through this. Like, she's gonna be doing this. I made some +1 crossbows a little bit ago, didn't I? Okay, okay, let's just go through the list. You have need of bows. Why beast tamers aren't able to use spears? Yeah. They can in one vision. Anyway, let's give you bows. Or apparently I need to learn it or something. Do you know bows? No, but you know cokes. Not that you're really going to use it right now, but there you go. By the way, if you ever felt like training up whips at this point, they actually are pretty decent. Like, you can legitimately run a whip build through most of the game and still be pretty alright. Like, especially by the time they end up scaling light later on. They are strong as hell, but until then, not so much. Alright, let's give you bows. Is that seriously the first fight I've brought you on? Dang. Well, alright. Whatever. Get you some points. Now, we can probably put a couple of these guys aside. Yeah, let's go this one, and let's go this one. And do we want Pants in this one? Nah, we want Felicia in this one. There we go. There we go. Everyone's doing their business. Now, they can't use longbows. They can only use short bows. So yeah, the +1 short bow is all they can realistically use until we get a ton of better bows later. Once we get Balder Bows, it's going to be a bit more off to the races, but this is going to be fine for now. And I'm not going to be wasting points on True Shot for the time being. Wait a minute. The short bows are the one with the friggin' stun on them. Why did I think that was the crossbows? Oh well. Yeah, so one of the more useful early game benefits, and one of the reasons to actually keep a +1 for a good long while, for that matter, is you got this little stun bonus. How exactly I keep mixing up which weapon has it, I don't know. It's kind of a mystery, but either way, very strong bonus. This basically just means that a good 20% of the time it may give a debuff that causes them to be completely unable to act half the time. Very useful. Obviously, if they're firing it around, like, honestly, even if they don't do any damage with it, if they're in one of those cases where they're doing 1 damage, it's still one of the few cases where it's actually worth keeping it on hand, because it's really, really light. It can still throw out a stun, which, honestly, the stun off this thing is more effective than anything you're going to get out of a Terror Knight, at least not without some very specialized training. So, you know, that's how that goes. Now, I've noticed a couple more folks showed up here. Again, I know I'm not supposed to point that out, but is the sound okay? Is it all coming through all right? Are you hearing things? Do I turn... You know what? I'm just going to turn up the music preemptively. There we go. It's loud as hell. I can barely hear right now. Ow. That burned my eardrums real good. So, if the sound and the music and everything else are all good and fine and nifty, please do let me know. If you can't hear me, please let me know, you know, all the usual kind of stuff. Because it's always hard to tell, because apparently sometimes it just janks out without bothering to tell me why. Now, at the end of all of this, once they reach, let's say, 15 or so, I'm going to go ahead and give everybody Subdue and... What's it? Subdue and the other one. Just basically both training moves. I want to... I guess technically there's not really much of a reason to pick up Subdue, but Tame is going to be very useful. We're going to get a bunch of dragons later. The idea is to... Do I really want to go Deneb? There's extra cutscenes. But it's such a tedious process. I might. I still might do it. Basically, to get one of the hidden characters, you need 4 of every dragon, or 5 of every dragon, which is ridiculous. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. There's one map that you can do it relatively quick, but actually getting Hydras, that's the real problem. Because you can spawn everything except for, I believe, 3 types in one map alone. Hydras only spawn in a very select few maps, most of which are story maps. There's actually only one repeatable map that you can get Hydra to spawn on, and that's in the Water Temple. The other ones, let's see, there's 2 in the Dark Knights. There's... What's the other one? There's one that spawns in one of the ice maps, specifically only during the story encounter there. And I think there's one in the Earth Temple, I want to say? Something like that. I'm going to leave Canopus here as the hard carry for the entire team. Let's take Pan off the team for a moment to get Sarah some training. Yeah, there we go. Alright, and you're going to be AI ranged. There you go. Actually, it might just be after this that I'll go ahead and put them away for a second. It's actually 10 might be the point where they start flipping over. Because at this point they're using their extra skills and extra levels and stuff like that to keep doing damage. Once they stop doing damage, again, I'm expecting that to be 15, somewhere between 10 and 15. Like, it'll vary between classes. But once the +1s stop doing damage, that's when we'll go ahead and back off of here. And then probably switch over to Knights, Terror Knights, and Clerics. And then once those are all done, we can just move on to other stuff. In fact, actually, forget the whole Cleric thing. I'm just going to turn everybody into Clerics and let Canopus carry a few story battles, and we'll just do it that way. Because again, we don't have to really level him up. He's overpowered right off the bat. So nothing fancy needed. And all of these guys are almost to the point of having Dark Weight. And then after they get Dark Weight, they can start training much faster, at which point they can get Slumber Shot, and then all of their animations can be much faster when auto-training. The weird things to get excited about, you know? What I will probably be getting is Sidestep and... Actually, no. Not Sidestep. Specifically, I want to get Deflect on a lot of them. This map, as weird as it sounds, this map is actually one of the better areas I found to auto-train Deflect. Just because there's usually a spawn of 1 to 3 archers, and they'll usually be taking potshots at everybody. So, yeah, you just get Deflect on there. Every time that there's an arrow coming towards them, it trains Deflect a little bit. And then eventually it'll proc and it'll be all good, and she just killed that one. That's a shame. That's a real shame. Alright. You guys almost done here? Just those 2 lizards left? And I guess that's kind of what bums me out about doing runs of this game, like specifically of doing the original version rather than One Vision. There's oftentimes no reason to explore some of the more expanded mechanics of the game. Like, for example, when I was doing a Rune Fencer only run, that was pretty fun, just because it allowed to explore, a lot of weapon side effects and that kind of thing, so that was pretty amusing. But most of them, most of them, it's just, if you have access to archers or whatever else whatsoever, it just becomes lots of that. Okay, so they're 11, almost 12. Question is this going to be enough to keep them going for a little while longer? Okay, can pop them up to Balder. Who's got the lowest defense here? Let's see, 188, 179. Yeah, I feel like all these sub-180s are going to be the ones getting this. Just kind of give them a little bit of a better balance as far as their armor goes. This makes them slightly slower. It's 1 extra on weight. And that's one of those weird, funky things that you end up seeing, from the original version. Just because you have entire pieces of armor that seem almost worthless because the fact that they add slightly more weight. Like, to give you an idea, taking 10 away from their weight is gonna almost make somebody double turn others in a lot of cases. And by the time you get to end game armors and things like that, you're pretty much just in that territory all the time. Okay, let's take Voltaire out of here and put Pan back in here. There we go. But yeah, so that's why the joke is that the meta and at endgame is just to run around naked. Because if you have a bunch of naked archers running around, they end up taking 2 shots in the time that somebody else would have moved, taken a shot, and then probably taken an attack in return. And sure, the armor might protect them slightly, although eventually it rolls over to the point where their vitality just completely takes over for armor, so they never really need to use armor at all at that point. That's kind of when you're getting into your, I want to say like 37 to 50, give or take. I forget why exactly I'm remembering 37, but that's kind of where I remember it rolling over. And yeah, after this fight, Beast Tamers are going to be shelved. Pew pew pew. I could, in theory, get them some extra training with some other classes, but whatever. I only wanted 1 extra for now, just to give them a little bit more carry room. Alright. Finish your pew pews. Again, this will all make much sense. Wow, this will all make much sense later. I sound like a weird, like, one of those awkward Chinese infomercials. But no, this will make more sense later, because early on, yes, this is all pretty easy, this is all pretty simple. Once you get later on, it really helps to have the ability to just sweep entire maps automatically, which is what I want to accomplish here. Like, just right off the bat, archers and dragoons and all that are going to be enough to, manually take care of all those problems. But if you have the option to just hold down the fast forward button and clear through all of the entirety of Palace of the Dead, that's going to be way easier. Useful stuff. Actually, that's one of the only reasons that you'd want to keep a cleric around towards that point, because even though you can have everybody else take over and do their job better, like for example, those last 4 I was talking about, I wanted to have 2 rune fencers and 2 ninjas. For that matter, I might just forego ninjas entirely, just have 4 rune fencers. Just because I really want people that are good at spears. I don't know why, but I always need spear units, even if they're not very good. They are by far the best healing unit in the game as far as I'm concerned, though. Because like nobody else can use ease for free. So, we'll do that at that point. Anyway. This poor lizard. He's gonna look like a dang pincushion when we're done. What is he? Just a basic warrior. I think we can probably get some hoplites to spawn if... I forget if you can get hoplites to spawn. I think... I could be completely wrong on this. I think 25 plus is when you can get hoplites and juggernauts to spawn here. Which, yeah, a couple... come to think of it, a couple fencers and a couple juggernauts. Or not juggernauts, but a couple hoplites would be pretty cool. That would be real nifty-like. Is this guy dead yet? Again, there's always going to be that one guy recreating the opening scene from RoboCop. Just quick, shoot that guy like 80 trillion times, and then he'll come back as a robot. That's great. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a better subversion of expectations than RoboCop and Predator. Like, those two movies just nailed it harder than anybody else could ever hope to. Okay. Those, got some archer marks, Kapungna. Kapungna, so, yeah, Kapungna and Knife, those are friggin... Those are way early for now. But anyway. Moving on, so, let's have them learn some skills. God dang it, I don't have the means to do it on him. Let's say, do I want Canopus learning it? I mean, I want as many as can to learn this. I'm gonna have him learn Subdue in case we need it. But everybody else is getting Tame at least. Kinda surprised I have Denim in such crappy shape right now. But yeah, this will be useful later, because you just have everybody go in with basically whatever you want. And then they can just mass negotiate, as it were. Alright, we'll do one more just because I want him. I need him to learn that thing. Just do one more. I could probably turn off that fast forward thingy so that stops being annoying. Yeah, I apologize for that little like clickety noise that it makes sometimes. Like I have the volume turned up a good ways on my end, but when you fast forward it, it kind of what's the term? It just kind of like breaks apart a little bit, and it has this kind of iffy just kind of sound that pops up at the end of sounds. And so I, generally speaking, have been trying to avoid using it as much as possible here. Yeah, I think it's Pan that's had the most training here, so let's replace you with Sarah real quick and move on here. Dead. Almost dead. Keep deading harder. Deaded. Alright, come on, hurry up and do your training. Hurry up and do your training so we can move on to other stuff. I promise to actually make some plot progress at this point. Because actually that's more or less my next goal. So I have archers overpowered. The story battles won't scale to them. So gonna have Canopus as an archer, gonna make everybody else into a cleric, and yeah, we're just gonna trade everybody out. Go between all these different fights. And yeah, just power level those clerics for a little bit. Get a little bit of their mind skill going on. And I want to say once we get towards the end of Chapter 3, that probably won't carry over very much. So we're going to start swapping over to other stuff at that point. Definitely takes a bit of a hot minute to get some of the skills in this game. Especially once you start getting the extra tiers later on. It seems almost like they expected you to power grind like this, which is just kind of sad, I'll be honest. So I'm like, man, we expected somebody to run through Farampa 80 times. Or in the case of mass leveling, we expected everybody to go out into the desert and shoot this one unfortunate lady in the face like 100 times and then get max level in every class. But you know, you do as you do. That's actually the best way to ever handle power leveling. Anyway, come on, finish up the fight so we can be out of here. Funny part is, yeah, no one's actually gotten their rank 2s yet. Get your rank 2s, get your rank 2s. I think Canopus is almost rank 4. Because his damage is nuts. And despite the fact that I've specifically gotten confirmation in multiple cases that damage isn't supposed to actually boost experience, it really does seem to boost experience. I don't know how to put that exactly, but yeah, I've gone and I've checked it, and it does seem to at least help a little bit. Like, it adds an extra 0.1 or something. Not per damage, of course, but still, it seems to do something. And yeah, the AI, being smart as always, will actually use a finisher to finish somebody off that's at 2 health, because why wouldn't they? And despite the fact that, it seems Canopus is doing more than double the damage of everybody else, they're not that far behind. If they're doing 8, all they need is a rank or 2. Like, right now, their actual stats are not too far off from him. But all they need is a rank or 2 in their weapon skill. In this case, he's not really getting any bonus from his lizard skill or anything. But they do get, like, give or take 5 to 10 extra damage depending on the circumstances, so that works out pretty nice. Hello there, Evan. So I missed the beginning of the run. What is the One-Eyed Night Slayer? Is this the Denim Vice Casual run? Kinda, sorta. So the One-Eyed Night Slayer is probably, let's just say, the best title that you can go for in terms of an actual challenge rather than something that's annoying as hell. So, like, for example, you get titles for going through the entirety of the game, never having anyone knocked out, or never retreating, or whatever else. But honestly, the mechanics of the game do not support those whatsoever. So this is, I would argue, the best logical challenge to do for this game, which is basically you have to undo the intro. You have to mess with time so hard that you actually undo the intro to the game. So the One-Eyed Knight is Tartaros by plot reasons, and he basically has plot armor throughout the entire game. Like, no matter what you do, even though he's in some ways framed as the bad guy, in some ways he's framed as, like, the not quite good guy, that kind of situation, it's like he's really just kind of more lawful neutral off in the background, because he's on the Lotus side. He more or less runs a large chunk of it, but technically speaking, he doesn't directly go out of his way to, ruin you most of the time. Like, every time that you fight him, it's defensive. So, basically, every time you fight him, he runs away. And yeah, One-Eyed Night Slayer is when you basically go through the entirety of the game. You get all of the Zenobian characters together. You get all of the, let's see. No, you actually don't need the Fire Crest. That was a different thing. But you go through Palace of the Dead twice. The second time going past level 100 to 115. Essentially completing that whole getting all the Zenobians thing. And from that point, you are able to essentially go back in time. Like, if you've completed all the rest of the Coda chapters, you're able to go back in time to the intro, and then if you complete all the fights and then go into the very last fight using only Denim, Vice, and Kashua, then that is the only way, after all that you can actually kill him. And then he has a chance to drop his fancy sword. So that's kind of the whole shtick there. So it's pretty darn nifty. Like, it's a hell of a long thing, we'll say that, but it's fun. It's alright. So we'll go ahead and throw that on there. We'll give this guy Brigandine, sure. Got a bunch of equipment that we shouldn't technically have. This is, like, well beyond mid-game stuff that we shouldn't have access to, and I think the next story fight's at, like, level 7 or something. Why such a hurry, Pants? Because we're about to go trader mode. I think we were going full law on this, weren't we? I think so. That made my brain hurt? Yep. This is a hell of a long game. That's kind of how that goes. So, okay. Couldn't. Nope, don't overwrite that run. That run was technically successful. Yay. But anyway, so I've gone and power leveled a lot of my characters here. So basically, every time that you level up as any of these, you get from 0.1 to 0.3, like 0.1 to 0.3, towards your base stats based off whatever they're good at. So I think it's 0.1 across the board, and then 0.3 for the stuff that they're good at. So, for example, Mind, in the case of the Clerics, Dexterity for the Archers, you're going to get, like, I believe it's Int and Mind for the Rune Fencers, Vitality for Knights, that kind of thing. So each of them are going to give you little stats. So you get sort of like little bonuses in the background whenever you're going through and doing all kinds of stuff. So that's what's going on here, why they have higher than usual stats, because I've been power leveling them as everything. They will be everything. So let's give everybody a stick, I guess. Let's go give everybody a shield, all the usual kind of stuff. I'm almost tempted to maybe give them something a little bit better here. Nah, Canopus is going to hard carry this fight, no problem. No problem. All I want to do is really just give them some manner of protection so that they're at least somewhat safe. And yeah, and we'll just do that. So these guys won't be doing much. Just don't expect much from them. They are only here because, well, I guess because they were told to be here. They're only here to heal. They should all have Divine on them. Yeah, you've got Divine. You need your Divine. Why don't you have it? There you go. Divine. And I'm kind of universally training all of them for the sake of having them all be as good as the recruits you end up getting later. Because I want them to, you know, have all those abilities. I want them to be as good as unique characters. I want them to be just decent for most of the game. Because I like having a uniform team of generics. Is that harder than just going ahead and, you know, using a normal team? Yes. Honestly, using named characters is just the way to go in this game. But it is what it is. Okay, so that should be everybody we technically need. Let's pop this on here. Give you a robe. Man, the heating just came on here, and my god, that is making my head hurt. Oof. It's freezing as hell outside, so I'll have to keep the heating on full blast here just to not feel like absolute garbage. And yeah, I don't want my kids to be cold. But yeah, get a nice sweet headache on account of sitting right under a heat vent. Like a smart person. Right. Almost done here. Is that everybody more or less equipped? Yeah, good enough. That will work. Alright, we can't retreat from this, so I think this is what I think it is. So we're going to pop you up here. All these guys are going to go ahead and heal. Canopus. Oh, I should have used more characters. What am I doing? Yeah, this is the Vice fight. Now, the problem is you have to... Well, I guess technically speaking, we could just attack Vice, and that's the end of the fight immediately. I want to try and save Aerosol, though. Just for the sake of having extra dialogue. Alright, you're going to be manual. And return to the fight. So now that we're over-leveled as hell for plot reasons, basically it doesn't even matter what we do with a lot of these characters. We only need Canopus to actually win anything. So if we go up here. Get him down to half health. Ooh! Okay, never mind. Or we're going to do that. He's got almost no movement range, but it doesn't matter. No one's going to even target him. Next shot, he's going to go up and he should be able to at least get Aerosol down to low health. If he crits, he'll probably just insta-kill her. Oh well. And then once we get Vice to 0 health after that, or critical, then the fight will just be done. This is why I was saying that this method would pay off in terms of speed down the line. Because the slightly extra stats will give these guys enough health and defense and everything else. I guess technically speaking, they're not getting extra health. We'll give them enough defense to be able to survive more hits than usual. And then once I get them into their final classes, they'll actually be pretty darn strong. So yeah. And part of the reason they'd want to go ahead and multi-class somebody like this, and part of the reason that this was taken out in the One Vision version, is because, yeah, A, it's arduous as hell to do it this way, it's completely counterintuitive, and B, well, as you'll see, it gets overpowered. You get the ability to use scrolls and that kind of thing, which will completely break the game. Basically, it just means you can have archers that are also casters and that kind of stuff. Okay, can I just move you here? Alright. Have him at low health. Hopefully Aerosol will get closer. Alright, come on, Aerosol. You know you want to get closer. Like, the only downside of this is I really shouldn't be using a short bow on Canopus. Because despite the fact that this thing is technically his strongest weapon right now, the range on it is kind of garbage. So this is taking longer than it should have. Like, just a regular longbow +1 would have been perfectly fine. I mean, look, his punches are doing as much as is doing more than their actual weapons. It's pretty great. All right, yes. You're gonna take some dudes out. Come closer. Perfect. This should hit. Yeah. All right, that's her at low health. Yeah, I think we might just have to kill her off. Oh well, we tried. She comes in handy down the line. Just because she comes in to help you with a fight. But unfortunately, if there's no way to save her, there's no way to save her, because I just need one shot on Vice and that's it. Excuse me, Braxton, hey, can you stop trying to eat the floor? There's nothing there. You need to stop trying to eat the floor. It's kind of gross. Not to mention, it always sounds wrong when somebody says, hey, they're over there trying to eat the carpet. Okay, Slumber Shot. That's basically an insta-kill. That's an insta-kill. Didn't trigger dialogue yet. Well, let's try it. See if she decides to leave. No? Okay. Alright, we'll switch her to manual because I want to get Rakes out of here so he's not taking any injuries. So I was hoping, because she's less than half health, that putting him into critical would trigger the end of the fight, but it didn't. So yeah, gonna have to kill off Aerosol. That's a dang shame. She basically refuses to leave if she still got some health left in her. Normally you want to knock her to critical, and then you knock down Vice, and then at that point she's like, okay, fine, I'll leave. Actually, if I knock her down to critical once, that should be enough to trigger the event. Or no, that just did it. Okay, never mind. We're just fine. We're just fine. So I guess, yeah, her health did drop far enough. If you just take him out immediately, she'll decide that no, she wants to actually fight. There we go. That's the fight done. Alright. That's 3 extra levels for the clerics. Did you get any extra stats? Yeah, got 1 extra stat across the board. Alright, now we head down to El Morica. I think, yeah, I'm gonna go longer range on you. Yeah. It's gonna lower his defense a little bit, so he is gonna get targeted sometimes, but yeah, we're gonna go longbow. Can you pick up Strengthen 2 yet? Yeah, that'll decide it. Strengthen 2 and Resistance. So he doesn't have a whole lot of resistance on account of being an archer. Probably Counter 2 as well. So most of his points splurged at this point. Deflect? Yeah, we'll give him Deflect as well. That makes him real good at arguments. Har har har. Okay, so Strengthen, upgrade that. Counter 2. So this is basically an extra 10% damage, which basically, since it's triggering after the actual damage calculations there, more or less just means it's actually way more than 10%. But whatever, that's neither here nor there. Max TP. Can put that aside for the moment to put resistance on there, because he's barely ever getting his TP up right now anyway. Alright, let's save it. And moving on. See, surprised Rakes didn't build in a cheat using his name like the old OB games. That would have been interesting. And I don't know. I get the feeling that he's never wanted to, boast much. Guy's, I mean, the guy does the mod out of love. It's the best way to put it. He does it for the peoples. Alright, so Modigliani moved up. His name, right? Yeah, Modigliani. So yeah, one shot. That's all it takes. And he does 100 against dragons now. Yeah, two-handed bows are totally balanced. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, over-leveled or not, usually their defense will mean that bows are completely ineffective. His stats roll over to the point that it doesn't even matter. I can set their AI to anything, because it doesn't matter. They're here to run around like little chickens. Yeah, noticed otherwise he would be out streaming. Pretty quiet as far as I can tell. Yeah, no, he's pretty darn quiet. Like, he keeps to himself. Actually, I mean, when I first saw the mod, I was like, man, I can't believe that I haven't seen this. Like, this is friggin' miraculous. How did I never see this? And yeah, just that same day, I was like, I technically haven't gotten permission from him yet. I haven't seen, everyone saying that he's just kind of working on this quietly in the background. Like, I don't care. This has to get advertised. And so a little over a year ago, just went out and actually, has it been almost 2 years now? I don't know when that one came out. First video I did on it, it's friggin' ages ago. And then yeah, he replied to me and gave permission to do the whole thing and was like, yes, I am advertising the crap out of your mod for as long as I'm physically able. Like, if I randomly find myself unable to do this whole thing, then yeah, then fine. But up until then, I'm advertising the crap out of your mod. Alright, there we go. Clerics get a few more levels. Is this the one-on-one? No, this is the 10-10. Which one is this? It's definitely not a beat-all, so whatever. It's Mr. Marino. Marino. I'm gonna come in here and talk to everybody about the footballs. Alright, so this ninja right here, if you haven't gotten ninja marks up to this point, she's a fantastic way to get them. If you're unfamiliar with how the drop system works in this game, generally speaking, every time that you run into a new class, the lowest thing, well, one of the lowest things that they're going to drop, they're basically going to have buff items for you, they're going to have cash, and they're going to have their class mark. And obviously the rarer the class is, the more unlikely they are to drop it, but typically when you run into your ninjas, swordmasters, all of your typical like second tier stuff as it were, you'll basically see that, yeah, they're going to drop their class marks more often than not. So I'm going to go ahead and get her sniped out of the way. So she's going to take one shot. That guy will take two. Doesn't matter, because a tremendous shot will do a hell of a lot more than that. So we'll go ahead and snipe. And she's gone, and yeah, there we go. That should be class marks right there. You're going to have a turn soon. Let's set you to manual to make sure that you pick them up. And yeah, there we go. If those knights attack him, there's a pretty decent chance that he's going to probably get enough TP to even do a kill move. So we'll do it that way. Laces out, Dan. No, they dropped a Storm Shear. Well, they dropped one of their abilities. Whatever. Alright. You know, come to think of it, I forget what exactly the deal was with the whole lace thing. I know very little about sports, but that one I have heard about before. Oh look, she's trying to do a strengthen. That'll take his 20% bonus down to 10%. Oh no. He'll still be able to one-shot almost anything on the map. He's trying so hard. Oh, that was a mistake. See, that's the thing. Some of if they actually implemented the emblem system from KOL into this game, it would be hilarious. Because if you're running an archer run, it probably would just break down into pretty much units going, and like every ranged unit that ever attacks an archer would just simply get the friggin' Don Quixote emblem every single time. So like, oh, I'm sorry, you've been countered for like a 25% counter that did 90% of your health. And whoops. Like, he's got 50% counter damage, and he still took off more than half their health. Ah, it's nuts. It is absolutely nuts, just how overpowered archers are in this game. What can we do here? Yeah, it's just going to be one more shot. Set up a Tremendous, have him walk over to the corner. God, it feels really weird to say Tremendous these last few years. Friggin' connotations and whatever. Alright, whatever. I just want him building up TP, so... Pew. It's like looking around, where does my arrow go? Alright, and I'm going to have him move backwards so that he can actually get into firing range. That's kind of the reason why I had him with a short bow earlier. But I expected this to be a little bit longer range. He closed in more than I would have wanted. See, laces stick up from the large surface, so if you hit them, only part of your foot connects with the ball, so in theory you would hit the face laces before the rest of the ball, causing it to go wild. Right! Right. Okay, gotcha. Oh man, TurboTax, why are you sending me these kinds of emails? Like, oh man, the IRS is opening up on 128, they're totally gonna do everything, and... Government shut down, it ain't working right now. Actually, let me Google that real quick. If they're sending out that email, does that mean that they actually... Nope. IRS is still out of commission. Nifty! I was kind of hoping TurboTax heard of something before I did. Unfortunately, such is not the case. But yeah, no. That's true. It's funny because they actually taught us that in PE. One of the few things I actually still remember. But for why did I think that whole laces out thing was for the sake of shoes? I don't know. I'm bad at the sports. Actually, scratch that. I'm pretty okay at some sports myself. I just can never remember what exactly is what. Like, I used to be pretty freaking good at soccer. Used to be pretty okay at football and all that. But actually, was pretty good at archery too. But then again, I'm kind of relatively accurate at stuff. Just not very good at anything that involves excessive amounts of, running. If it involves sprinting, I'm good. If it involves running, no. Actually, I've made the joke more than once of like, oh, one of the friggin' what's a speech? What's Gimli's speech in Lord of the Rings? Like, he's like, oh, we're really good in short distance sprints, but we're not good for long-term marches, kind of thing. Want your return, man? Everybody wants their return. It's stupid. This whole situation's stupid. Like, at this point, it's just gotten into toddler levels of nonsense. It's like, personally, not to get into politics or whatever much, but it's like, personally, I think the wall is the most retarded idea I've ever heard, but I just want the entire thing to stop. I think they're doing the right thing at this point, where they're basically saying, like, you can't give any more speeches until you go get the freaking government working again. Seriously, what the hell are you doing? I mean, that's probably as good of a resolution as we're going to get, because, I mean, that's kind of the one thing that appeals to the guy, more attention. So, honestly, that whole likeliness of the whole traitor thing seems kind of up there lately. Seems more so every day. She was talking to my wife a little while ago. It's like, how on earth, like, is it that other people have gotten into issues where it's like, it was vaguely implied that they, did something or other, they, shuffled something in the wrong place, and then it just blew up in their face? Like, oh yeah, like this guy over here, he cheated, oh my god, to friggin' impeach right away. This guy, like, paid off porn stars, cheated a bunch of times, walked in on underage girls, friggin', like, was going around being super cringy for a very long time in a lot of different ways. Kind of implied traitor. There's a bunch of evidence for that now. It's like, dude, what the crap else do you need right now? Like, what is this? This is just this is just bizarre. I don't know. I don't know what to make of it all. Crap is busted. Let's put it that way. Your uprising will not die so easily. Now we're gonna take over it in like 5 seconds. It's fine. We got this. There we go, we get medicine, we get a Ring of Vitality. Immediately slap that sucker on pretty much anybody who wants it. This guy dies, Leonard comes in and shanks him. And Cash was all like, oh man, it's time for me to plot leave. Alright, also time for the one-on-one fight with Mr. Leonard. And since we saved Aracel, this should be no problem whatsoever. But, let's go ahead and switch you over to... Fencer. Gonna have you fence away. Be all fancy-like. But yeah, like, at this point, it's kind of an unspoken rule. You know, like, in our household and pretty much anywhere we go, it's like, you do not mention... You know how there's that whole, like, he who shall not be named? It's basically become that. Like, you do not speak the name. It's too embarrassing. Just we do not touch that. Do not touch it with a 40-foot pole. Because that mess is screwy, and it makes no sense, and seriously, can we just get back to life as normal, please? One of these days, one of these days. Oh well. I mean, I hope one of these days. Again, I don't know. It's, we're in some weird places right now. Yes. He's all like, oh man, resistance though. We're all like, oh man, 4-level advantage, plus we've got a bunch of extra stats, plus doesn't even matter that spears aren't very good, you gonna die. Plus massive numerical advantage, what is this guy hoping to achieve? Alright. Manual, let's do this crap. So she does 4 despite being massively overpowered. Pants goes forward. Vice does his whole thing. Yeah, Vice is basically a super ninja. Which is funny, because this exact fight, if you ended up going, not chaotic, chaotic. If you ended up going chaos on this, you'll fight him here, and yeah, no, he's, it's just hilarious, because he's way overpowered. And then he comes into this fight, and he's like, no, I'm doing sword and board now. But then you fight him on the one-on-one fight, and he's going, like, dual daggers, he's got all of this actually good stuff, he's coming in with different skills and everything. Like, he's somehow way, way, way more into that fight. I can just fight this guy head on. See, the funny thing is, with the level differences, they scale up your agility as well. So this means that if you have a decent enough level bonus, you just can't miss. Like, doesn't matter if you don't have True Strike, doesn't matter if you don't have the weapon skill for it, you'll just overpower them completely. It's kind of janky. So, okay, there we go. Dude man gets his hits in here. And, oh yeah, let's try to recruit you. We're not actually going to recruit him, but this does allow him to raise his recruit skill a little bit. Vice can die here. Actually, they all can kind of die here. But I'd like to be able to recruit him later, so we're going to go ahead and try to make sure that doesn't happen. Thank you, Kashwa, for not bothering to heal your boyfriend. Alright, try to recruit. Yeah, anytime you use recruit, whether it has a chance to succeed or not, you will still end up getting those extra points. If you succeed, you get slightly more, but just the fact that you use the skill gives you a little bit of experience in it. By the way, Evan, quick question. Is the music coming through? Like, is it coming through, and for that matter, is the jittering from said music coming through? And, yeah, by the way, since we're on law now, yeah, nobody's gonna go up and touch Gildas. I just noticed I screwed up. I just noticed I screwed up bad. Ah, crap. Man, I got the other 2 steps to get Ravenous. I forgot to... Yes, Cashware, you're pissing off. Who cares? Is she dead? No, she's not. Okay. Has not been heard from since. Okay. Maybe I didn't miss it. Alright. So we have all that. Yeah, it's right after this. Okay, so right after Crit and I, that's when you... or actually, no. I think it was right after Brigantes. You go to one of the mountains. Right after one of the castles, you go back to one of the mountains, and that's when you can find her, and then you save her for another time, and then her stats are amazing. And she's got an RT bonus, because everyone needs their friggin' waifu character to be crazy overpowered, of course. So, yeah, Alright. Whatever, I'm just gonna leave him as a Rune Fencer, because I want him to practice his spears. In fact, can we get crafting 2 yet? Yes. Yes, we can. Alright, that changes the game entirely. So now we can go ahead and craft up a bunch of stuff that was previously unavailable. So go down here, sell the copper, sell the bronze, keep the silver, because you do not want to get stuck in a horrible thing where you can't recycle any of your skills due to weird shenanigans. That's a long story. Anyway. Do I want to use bows? I kind of want to use bows. Let's get more bows. Alright. So. Go here. Start selling some stuff. What do I want to sell? More bucklers. Sell this helmet. Balder armor, yeah. That stuff is not going to be terribly useful to us. Actually, most of the Balder stuff is just not going to be very useful for us right now. Lots of chain. Perfect. Alright. Now, bow-wise, what else? We got 5. Can we get another 8? Or 7. Yes. Okay. Now we're going to go need more ores, because we're going to need a crap load of this stuff. Oh, can't hold anymore? Fine. And now we go over here, because we're going to need to make Balder. And Balder is annoying, but what exactly do we need for ranged weapons too? Buy book, buy book, buy book. I'm going to buy them all, just because I really want to buy them all. Get smithing too, for the option to upgrade some other stuff. Actually, I want to get jewelry too as well. Do I want to get rid of these short bows? Yeah, the basic short bows can go. Get more crafting books. I think it's just jewelry too, yeah? Yeah. Alright. Now we go ahead and go into crafting. Once we get composite and siege bows, those are amazing and really cheap to make. Balders, not so much. So we have enough hemp. We need 12 silver, 12 balders. That means an actual 24 silver. Which means lots of ore. Just lots and lots of ore. Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of ore. The joys of crafting! And I still have no answer as to whether or not sound is coming through correctly. Because I don't know if this fast forwarding is causing annoying things that are causing people's ears to get grated open. But one of these days. Alright. So we are going to need... Let's see... Well, we need 60 at least. 82. There we go. I need 82 silver ore. Needless to say, what I have right now is not going to be enough to actually make enough ore to make this happen. So it's going to be a minute. Alright, a little bit more, a little bit more. So yeah, you basically need steel and then you need silver in order to make Balder. So in order to make steel, you need a lot of iron, you need a lot of other stuff. And yeah. Oh, hang on. One sec, I gotta go check on something. Alrighty, and I'm back. So music's coming through, but it's a little soft. Okay, let's fix that. That should be pretty good. Not that I'll ever understand how the hell all of these volume levels are going exactly. Because I literally have a situation now where it's basically... Like, I have the volume turned down all the way on my headphones, but it's still blaring like crazy. I have it down... Well, I have it up most of the way on the PC. And then, yeah. It's showing way louder than I guess it actually is on OBS. It's unclear. Alright, lots and lots of iron. Yeah, this whole process, as you can tell, takes a hot minute. Now, the nice thing is, you occasionally will have lucky days. And if you go back and forth, you can actually kind of min-max this, to the point where you come in specifically on a lucky day. And if you don't know how to check that, you actually go over here, go to this menu. So like this is an average day. So if we were, for example, to go back and forth from here a few times, and just give it a week or whatever, then we go over here, and still about the same. So every day, your luck will change a little bit, depending on a lot of different things. You can give yourself a luck band, which will kind of improve your daily luck and all that kind of thing. So for now, it's looking about average. Truth be told, I don't know exactly how it is, because sometimes when you go into battles, it'll just repeatedly change over and over. But yeah, so like you'll have a bunch of days with a bunch of different stuff going on. But if you specifically come in on a lucky day, like right now, it just suddenly went up here. So now it's a 6 out of 10, and this means that there's a pretty decent chance, especially if you end up with a really lucky day, that you can just go and repeatedly get really good craftables. Now, I've actually never tried going out of my way to make a let's make a luck band, just a ring of luck, right? So Band of Fortune. I don't think we can even make that yet. Warrior, Defender, White, and Woods. Can we? Yeah, we don't have Codex of Gems yet, so we can't quite do that. Right? We don't have Codex of Gems? We don't have Codex of Gems. Anyway, we can make Horde +1, but I don't think we can use it yet. No, we don't even have... We don't have Codex of Gems. There we go. But yeah, Band of Fortune, I believe, does not actually drop anywhere. You have to specifically make it. And I don't know if it affects your luck in the shop, but I do know if you come in on a lucky day, you do get your double crafted items pretty regularly. So it's it's worth doing if you're doing a crap load of stuff at one time. Yeah, we'll try to exploit that more a little bit later. Try to at least get the Codex of Gems first of all. We're only a few fights away. I believe it's actually Gorgeau or whatever his name is that actually drops it in the next castle fight. The guy that's guarding Hector. We have the garages. Do we want any of these? Not really. These always kind of crack me up. It's like, okay, Stun Dart, useful. Wart Dart, as in friggin' a charm gun, yeah, that's amazing. Frog Dart, it's poison. One of these is more useful than the other. Not to mention this is way harder to make. This costs more to make. And I believe it actually has a slower use time as well. Let's see, that's a common issue it seems when I'm viewing from my phone, so maybe that impacts it. Maybe. Could be. This one could be useful, but honestly, yeah, Petra Dart or Wart Dart. Like, I would say Wart Dart is by far the most useful, because, yeah, they're going to waste a turn trying to fix it, or they're going to be fighting amongst each other. And when I was doing a no-skill run, I just basically put this on everybody and had an entire team, like all of Zabos' units. It turns out he himself can be charmed, apparently. All of them were fighting each other, and it was fantastic. Alright, we just need steel for this. You know what? I'm gonna make some Brigandine +1s. Why not? Go down to steel. Alright, let's make a bunch of these first. But yeah, if the fast forwarding gets annoying to anyone, please feel free to let me know. I'm perfectly fine doing this regular speed. I've done so many times before. It's just more a matter of I figure, we can get more stuff done in a slower amount or in a shorter amount of time by just going ahead and fast forwarding. Alright, so let's go ahead and see. You know what? Should I just leave those materials? Now, let's go try and make the Brigandine. We'll get a bunch of them later. Like, armor is one of those things you end up getting a crap load of. Oh. Well, that sucks. That sucks. We have one more try at it. Let's go over here to ores. Let's get one more steel. Need a bunch of steel anyway, so let's go make that. You know what? I'm making these for no reason. I just need silver and boulder. There's no reason for me to make steel. Derp. I'm thinking of what's. That's what I'm thinking of. Alright, we need iron, so let's go make more iron. I'm sure everyone's had that conversation over whether it's iron or iron. God, that was such a dumb... Like, do you remember when that actually used to matter? God, this feels so surreal right now. Because it honestly feels like something straight out of a book or something. Because I remember, like, when my brother and I were growing up or whatever, it seemed like a lot of the issues flying around that were made, you know, such a big deal at the time, they're nothing right now. Like, they just completely don't matter. Like, you know, like, oh, important people cheated on somebody. Who cares anymore? Like, you got, like, specifically, you know, people wanting to go pronounce something a certain way doesn't matter anymore. Like, it's just weird. It's weird. I don't know what to even make of that. Alright, so we got a +1. Basically, +1s of these guys over here don't necessarily matter too much. Balder +1, I believe that gives you silence proof? Or slow proof, or something like that. Either way. It's not bad. I mean, it's alright. It's a decent upgrade. Heater shield's pretty alright. Balder helm, don't bother. This gives you sleep proof, but you can get that from a shield all the same. You basically get better options by just going with a better helmet and or just putting something better in that slot entirely and just using the shield, because shields are better off just used for whatever their actual bonuses are. Balder is only for mid-game casters, and then once you get into late game, there's no point to use this whatsoever. Brigandine, this is just a flat upgrade. I mean, you're going to use it for a good while, but yeah. Excuse me! Over here, lay down right now. You don't bark. Dang doggo. Okay. So, moving on here. What the hell was I doing? Right, silver. Lots and lots of silver. All the silver I can make. Right, so 12 Balder ores, 12... Hell, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to afford to make all these, to be honest. But this is the interesting part of an Ironman run, and this is why I think this game could have gotten away completely by just allowing you to craft multiples. Like, they wanted to give you the option, you know, for getting all of these doubles while you're crafting. It's like, oh, look, a little trickle of rewards, but it didn't quite work out that way. It's more like it just became extraordinarily tedious to actually craft anything. Especially when you're dealing with a full team of like 50 units, like, dude, I don't want to spend 3.5 years crafting new equipment for these guys. Which you don't have to. Like, technically speaking, if you power game this game, you almost never actually have to craft anything. Right now, I'm just like giving them these bows because it's going to make going through Palace of the Dead a lot easier. I'm going to do this for Siege, and I'm going to do these for Balder, and then after that, we'll see. Like, once you get the elemental bows, that's the end. You've got what you need. So, it's pretty alright. I mean, as far as armor and all that, as far as stabs, as far as a lot of your other equipment, you're just going to get that as drops. Especially if you have one class that's over-leveled, you have them even running through something like Farampa, you're going to get a ton of that stuff just piling up everywhere. So, I mean, it's perfectly fine. Alright, I forgot to make crystals. We need to make some crystals. Oh, get out of here with your 96% fail. Nonsense. Nonsense. It is sense that is not made. Alright, let me get some boulders in here. Yeah, definitely could have been handled better, let's put it that way. More than a little bit. Alright, now we go back to ranged. How many do we actually get out of all that crap? Looks like 7. Not bad. Not bad at all. Actually, I have a bit of extra silver left over. These you'll never get one extra, but your crafting materials you can. I mean, one of them was bound to fail, sure. That'll be fine for now. Okay. Let's give you your +1. Yeah, you don't get any extra range, you get slightly slower. You get 2 to 7% bonus damage off it, though. Still slightly weaker than the longbow. But yeah, silence. Silence is great. We're going to leave it right there, though. He's going to stick to a longbow for now. And then we got Majora Drift. Stuff's pretty dandy. Throw you out here. We'll get all these clerics out here. It'll be good times. Everyone's going to have fun. And I think the fights after this, I'm going to start throwing the lizards in here. Just to give them their extra training. Then Mr. Hector shows up. He's like, oh man, I'm so important to the plot. Why the hell didn't they give me a unique sprite? And that's something the Rakes fix too. Alright, so you're going to go melee. You are free to do whatever. So first things first, Batu. Goodbye, Mr. Knight. Sweet defense you had there. This is why you overlevel early. Because yeah, honestly, the amount of experience you're getting is going to be the same throughout all of the games, so ridiculously overpowered, let's put it that way. Nothing these guys drop will be important. If I see, like, say, a Dragoon or a Ninja or something like that, I'm going to go ahead and collect their stuff. I want Denim to get improved spears. That's the only reason I have him running spears right now. Do I want to switch everyone over to Fencers? Kinda? I vaguely want everyone to be Fencers. But extra stats, though. Hi, Mr. Hector. Pew. Yeah, 2 arrows. That's all it took. 2 arrows to scare them all off. Alright, clerics are over-leveled. Let's change y'all to different classes. Yeah, let's go warriors. Alright, so changing these guys to warriors, I believe they'll still get the level up bonus from the lizards, who are all going to be these as well. So the lizards are going to go in, they're going to be the ones actually participating in the fights. So you're a berserker. You know what? Yeah, warriors. Power leveling in this game looks weird. And yeah, since they won't be doing that much, I'm not going to bother giving them equipment or skills or whatever else. They're just going to sit there. Now, this is... yeah, this is going to be a 1-round kill. That's fine. Let's go ahead and replace 6 of you. I think Elzambus. There we go. Yeah, I think between all these, Elzanthus is the one that got the least training, so there we go. So you get this one guy over here, he's like, man, check it out, I brought my bathrobe. I'm a smart man. AI, are they also AI? They sure are. So yeah, 2 rounds. That's all it takes. Everyone else is gonna get their experience. He's gonna go ahead and get his levels, and yeah, whatever. The funny part is, yeah, he ends up getting pretty decent weapon skills just doing this the entire time. Everyone else only gets them during grinding. We lost out on that loot, but who cares? It was probably a couple of copper coins or whatever. And this right here is exactly why in One Vision all of the bosses end up having unique stats. Why they all ended up giving buffs and all that kind of thing, because, you know, as you may have noticed in the SNES or PS1 version, they thought it through. They're like, hey, so these guys are going to be the leader, they're going to be the, you know, main objective of these fights. Maybe to make it interesting, we should make them, you know, actually a challenge instead of, like, somebody you can run up and pop once and they're done. AKA this right here. Because, yeah, it's ridiculous, because why would anybody ever have this guy as their leader? It's like, we're just going to give up because the one guy that showed up in a bathrobe in the middle of a blizzard just went and immediately died. Excellent reason to completely give up. Come a long way to die, pants. That's, yeah. Every time they have some old pair of jeans or something, and you end up going to Taco Bell. I will never stop picking on Taco Bell. Despite the fact that I, like, unironically love their food at times, that stuff will give you horrible diarrhea every single time. Right, so another annoying thing that we gotta do here, if we want to pick up, hang on. Do we need the entire side quest in order to pick up Ravnus? I forget. Okay, I'm gonna have to let this fight run a few rounds. Crap. Okay, so hopefully it takes more than one shot to do in Mr. Diderot there. I think it's 4 lines of dialogue that we need. Basically, the information that you're trying to get is you're trying to get Yunin to admit that he burned down a town. So, yeah, 3%, very likely. Good job, you totally did it. Anyway. That's fine, that's fine. Came in with a bunch of naked lizards, we weren't really expecting anything different. Alright, but we need a few lines of dialogue out of this guy. Alright, that sucks. That sucks. Sucks real bad. Stealing our loot. Alright, almost done. Yeah, I probably should take all this armor off of Canopus. Yeah, Bird Boy doesn't need all this armor. He's gonna get that all stripped off him. Man. I don't know, this is just weirdly chaotic and funny to watch. So, I saw somebody mention earlier that March of the Black Queen seemed a little bit annoying at times. And yet, I have to say, like, it may seem that way at times, but dude, if you end up power gaming that game, it's so bizarrely satisfying. Like, you get a situation just like this, where you have a majority of your entire group that's, like, showing up completely naked, they don't even have any items, they, you know, they don't know what exactly they're gonna do. You know, hell, I think I was on, like, the, the 12th fight or something, and I was still using level 1s in a lot of cases. But then, yeah, you'll have entire battles where it's just like you have one A-team with like 20 tarot cards coming in to just go and nuke the boss and get a ton of experience out of it. It's pretty great. See, bro, have to run again. Is there a possibility to get a spear skill that allows you to attack through your ally without damaging them, effectively shield wall? Yes. In this game, it's called endgame spears. In One Vision, it's called the side grading spears. So yeah, you basically get you get spears that are technically 3 range, but they skip the first one. So you can make spear walls. Again, the only downside is that in this game, you're either forced to use them, or, you know, you just don't use them at all. Because, how do I even explain it? Like, they're there, they make up... what percentage? I mean, they make up a good majority of the endgame spears, and they're like a flat damage upgrade over over something like your basic spear. Unfortunately, they have next to no chance to get crafted. I think it's like friggin' 30 to 40%, best case scenario. And on top of that, yeah, a lot of them are just very hard to get. The best one that you can do for most of the time is the Colcrium, which you need a Unicorn Horn for, or once you end up getting into the kind of New Game Plus territory, just pretty much everybody with a frickin' spear skill is going to be running around with a frickin' Unicorn Horn, because sure, whatever. So there's that, I guess. Anyway, you know what, screw it. I don't know if this is going to screw up any plot stuff, but let's go ahead and PP that guy. We're done call. I think we needed one more to technically unlock everything, but it's fine. But yeah, I should point out that, yeah, but as far as all your spear skills and whatever else, it's just not worth it by that point. It's just, everything else seems to do better. Even if you have somebody that's dedicated to spears up to that point, you really can't expect too much out of them unless you're using Dragoons, which is what I'm going to do here. And yeah, Dragoons are definitely better suited for using crossbows, because, I mean, let's be honest here, with crossbows they have the ability to use that burst fire ability, so the rank 6. But yeah, so you got a bail for a call, we'll watch the thing later for the Lancer. Okay, so I'll just keep going on about it then. So yeah, as far as the spears go, as far as their main selling points, you get a lot of elemental scaling to them later on, so that's for fencers. You get some decent attack abilities for Dragoons, like for example the rank 6 ability, which allows you to hit 3 times. But yeah, the thing is that, yeah, it's just, they're taking both hands, they're relatively heavy, like right here. Comparing the different weapons you got here, daggers are coming in with 2, so you can dual wield these for pretty much nothing. Like, all the way up to Baldur, they're barely getting an extra point. Swords, you're getting 6 to 7, so they're pretty heavy. You know, all your two-handers are ridiculously heavy, so any class that's trying to use them is going to just suffer. Axes, it depends. The one-handers are slightly faster than swords. The heavies are just slightly under the two-handers. Spear-wise, they're kind of in the middle of both the other two-hander type things, but they don't keep up damage-wise. The interesting part is, yeah, attack score. Like, let's go ahead and compare whatever they get at around level 7. Right, so attack score is the thing that more or less decides how much defense they're going to punch through. So I like to see it as the, you know, premier armor-piercing type thingy. So, like, let's go over here to daggers, right? So these are, is this level 7? I think this is level 7. So you get the Dirk, right? Coming in at 44, you know, basically weighs nothing, costs very little to use. You go to your swords, it's 51, it's slightly higher, but you can already see, like, knives are close enough to swords that they're going to be getting through similar amounts of damage threshold. You get to two-handers, and you get another 10 bonus, but it's just, you know, it still feels a little bit weird. Then, like, let's say you compare a two-hander to an axe. You see how they're about the same for their piercing? You see how spears are slightly below that? So already you're going to start seeing several cases where they're not going to be piercing through stuff very much. Meanwhile, this thing is not even at level 7. Like, hammers over here are doing better piercing, or equivalent piercing with the one-handed version. When you get the two-handed version of this, I think it's like 80 or something. It's just, this has way higher attack. So yeah, way higher overall piercing. Meanwhile, you get your katanas over here, which I guess Moonsickle is a bad example, but they also get a hidden bonus. Do I have anything lower for those? No, I can't really compare them, but 2H katanas aren't terribly good. Stabs do basically nothing, or just anything in the cudgel category does basically nothing. Fist-wise, they're actually not bad. Like, fists actually get through about as much damage as a two-hander or axe would, but, you know, it's weird. Like, it's weird to have so many that are just kind of different for the sake of flavor, but functionally speaking, they're just not very good. Like, fists, they're very good in terms of, like, if you use them on a berserker, and a lot of the ones later, I forget exactly which scalings come into play there, but basically they become really good, specifically with berserkers. Two-handers, they're really... like, aside from Denim, with a very specialized build, they're not necessarily going to be useful for dang near anyone. Their main like, selling point is just they are slightly less weight than a sword and a shield. for very slightly higher damage. In theory, anyway. They have about the same damage. Like, as you can see, the 4% there, that's their extra damage that they're getting if they get past the actual threshold. So their damage is the same, more or less. Whatever damage gets past the threshold gets carried over, so in this case it's like, it's slightly different. Still, though, up until you get to something like the Ogre Blade or something, they're just not terribly good. Anyway, are we able to actually buy Dragoon Marks yet? Now that I've gone on about that forever. Beastmaster Mark, yeah, we can't get them just yet. However, we might be able to get Ravenous. Dude guy goes missing. I guarantee you I will probably end up completely missing her anyway. Alright, moving on. Do I want to... Yeah, let's put Elxanthus aside for now. I want to give Yunin a few more stats. He's one of the ones that I do want to end up using. But yeah, he's pretty dang strong. And he actually comes in with a bunch of skills. So he comes in with spears. We're not going to be using that. We're going to be using crossbows on him. When he comes in with counter 2, he comes in with Draconology 2. So he's going to be... Like, to actually get to that point takes a while. So he's already coming in with like 5 to 10% extra damage on everything. Fortify's okay, but it really won't matter for a good long while. And yeah, let's go ahead and give you something or other. Use crossbows? Yes. Alright, you can't actually learn to use them yet, but whatever. Not that it really matters. Alright, let's set you to ranged and end the turn. We only need one shot from Canopus to actually end this fight. You know, as has been the norm for a good long while now, but I figured I'd go ahead and mention it. Sorry, 1 second here. Just replying to a quick message, because of course. Okay, does he have any extra stuff I want to get from this fight? Not really. Let's go ahead and pop this guy and we're done here. Alright, didn't get the crit. Whatever. I do need to remember to strip the armor off him before next time, though. Right, so this guy actually has a couple lines of dialogue, that's what I forgot about. So we've got Yunin in here. If we get the what line? Yeah, I think we have to get the what line. That's what it is. Alright, so we're going to leave it as is, going to see... You know, in that case, I probably should go ahead and... let's do this. So you're going to go ahead and be manual. Alright. So we got manual going on. Yeah, that's going to work real good. So So you go here, you pop this guy a little bit. Now, I just need him down to... I believe there's 3 lines for him, so we're going to pop him down to that. Everybody else shouldn't really be able to do very much. Excuse me, you stop that growling right now. Why are you whining? Why do you need to do that? There's nothing there. Just let people go to their dang home. It's like, no, but I gotta be so angry. Big, tough, scary dog over here who's just a massive little cuddly thing most of the time. Massive little cuddly thing, you know as you do. Labs are like that. Oh man, I don't know why this, again, sounds like a horrible joke. Alright, so he's basically letting you know that, yeah, the dude guy. What plan? Now they need to talk a little bit, because they can't just do the entire dialogue right now. You have to, well, okay, this was backwards as hell. Like, right now, with the way that One Vision did it, there's a decent chance that going through this fight, you're gonna reach all the phases of Ninja Guy's health here in order to be able to properly, you know, do that whole plot line. Because what you're trying to do is get them to find out that, you know, the Hector guy and his dad basically betrayed their group. They just couldn't openly say that they did. So, you know, that's all well and cool and everything, but to actually get them to admit it, you have to go through 3 lines. So, there we go, that got him down a good bit. Just try to recruit her. Just get your recruit skill up a little bit. Let's get this archer out of here. Maybe they'll drop a nice shiny bow. They won't. Anyway, so unfortunately they drop it on that line. So like, oh man, what plan? You could finish the conversation right there, but no, we have to wait for 1 more. Now, I don't remember if Robber Ball here has to be at... Yeah, there we go. Made certain of your word would not reach them. They ordered them divided. Yes, 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 yes. And again, why could you guys not talk about this any other time? There we go. That's the line. As soon as he says what, you're done. And yeah, with that, the moment the Canopus gets his next turn, we can just go ahead and end the fight. Which, if everything was done correctly, should mean that we can hopefully get Ravnus. Again, it's very annoying how you have to go through all that stuff. Like, it's just really backwards how they implemented the DLC characters. Because both of them are so missable, it's ridiculous. And their intention was pretty obvious. I mean, they were trying to go through, and they're like, okay, we want to make sure that, you know, everybody goes and, you know, has to try through multiple times, and, you know, we have to make sure that everybody sees all the content, but who would think to do this? I mean, by that point, your characters are so overpowered that you're just going to one-shot this guy. Alright, we got a bunch of ninja stuff. Do we actually have the option to make them a full team yet? That is the question. Go to Tuck. Dude guy's missing. Nothing new here. Let's go skip through all of these just in case we're supposed to have read them, because there's at least 2 to 3 events that only seem to occur after you've read that. You know, because reasons. Now, let's see if I'm remembering this correctly or not. Do we have to go back somewhere? Do you want to retreat? Sure. Yeah, you don't have the option to retreat from the one from that one. It's okay, we're fine. Okay. Let's go ahead and give you your upgraded Brigandine, but we're also gonna take away racers. Do we want to do that? Yeah, I mean, we can go ahead and do that. Give you a little bit less weight to work with. And it's Mr. Vance. I like Vance. He's one of the few characters that shows up all throughout the story, and technically speaking, he's supposed to die around this point in all plotlines. But at some point, I somehow managed to get him to go replace the Dragoon way, way later in the game. Like, God, how the hell was it even? Because there was something weird that happened with that run. That yeah, he showed up in the Northern Invasion. So I don't know. Don't know what that's all about. Yeah, I'm just gonna let this play out normally. I like this music. It's a nice little march type situation. In fact, it's funny how many of these are actually from March of the Black Queen. Like, they actually have not added that many themes. Like, this is in it, Limitation is in it, I think, like, the only... Let's see. The only two I think that are in this game that are not also in March of the Black Queen or OB64 are, Harvest Dance? No, not Harvest Dance, that one's in it. What the hell is it? Why can't I remember right now? Ah, dang it. Thanks, brain. Perfect. Okay, Reminiscence. That's one of them. So Reminiscence is one of them. Then you have... What the hell's that one? That... You know, that big sweeping one. No, is that Faraway Heights? It might be Faraway Heights. Anyway, so you got Faraway Heights and then Avillahania. And I think those are the only themes that are in this game that aren't in the others. Or rather, that are unique to this game. Everything else is a remake, which, gotta say, if you're ever going through, like, if you want a massive friggin' nostalgia boner for something, just, if you haven't played the OB games, go through them, and only for, like, the old-gen versions of the music alone, just going through each of those fights, and every single new fight, they have some different theme there, and it's like, dude, I know this! I know the fancy version of this! Like, this just feels amazing, you know? It's so weird to think how they actually have not changed the music that much. They just keep redoing those same themes. Which I guess, I don't know, maybe the reason that it surprises me so much is that for all of the FFT games, they went through and they pretty much redid the entire soundtrack for the most part. Like from FFTA to FFTA2, they kind of sort of kept like 4 of the themes maybe, but a whole lot of the rest of it is just new. And honestly, you know, there were some definite missing ones on there, like Battle of Joy, for example. Weird name, but that was easily, like, that is the theme that I identify FFTA with. Like, that is that theme, which very likely could be why they did it that way. Like, it's more than likely they did... Oh! I was meaning to show this the other day, by the way. Need to go look at him, at his build real quick. So, another one of the reasons I like Vance is because he actually comes in with a unique build. That he's going for a, basically a riot build here. So, he comes in with Brimstone Hail. Comes in with an infusion, but yeah, his whole build is based around nuking things. So, it's cool. It's cool. So, I don't really know why he comes in with Dark, but he has that as an option. So he can be potentially threatening. He's one of the few that actually has reasonably high stats as far as bosses go. Still nothing super amazing. Also, I should probably take out that ninja. Ooh, you know what? That Warlock, too. That guy needs to go. Alright, first ninja, then Warlock. In fact, they might have the ninja, so I might just go shoot for the Warlock first. And this is just for the sake of getting their class marks. We have a good minute until we get everybody else. Actually, funny note, I've heard a couple people say that two-handers were actually pretty good during the story. You know why they seem good during the story? Is almost everybody using them has... Oh, nice. Almost everybody using a two-hander has access to Tremendous Strike. That's the only reason. It's like the two classes that use the most are Warriors and Terranites. and both of them have a guaranteed hit plus. Well, one of them's guaranteed hit plus crit, and another one is a guaranteed hit plus debuff. So they seem like they hit hard, but it's the ability that hits hard. It's not actually the weapon. But, you know, you do as you do. They will continue healing that guy for multiple turns. That douchebag priest... Screw it. Screw it. We'll just buy the marks as they become available. Let's skip out of that. And there we go. Now, do we have new news by chance? Nothing new here, nothing new here. Okay. Let's take us a castle then. Yeah, here we go. This is the one with the Codex of Gems. Mr. Ogre. And because I want to end this quickly, let's go ahead and... Where are my plumes? I have plumes, don't I? Huh, it's weird, because I don't have plumes. Alright, let's do Strengthen. There we go. By the way, massive middle finger to whatever developer decided that some of the very early game weapons need chariot cards to actually be made. Chariot or strength cards, but then you don't need them for the time when you actually, you know, would have them. As in, those cards are... It's literally just like a matter of grinding early on. So you might have one, you might not. It's just completely random chance as to whether or not you actually picked up a strength or chariot card, and, you know, didn't use it for its more useful purpose. And now all we do is plop away those dragoons up until Orjo decides to fly down, which he always does. Funnily enough, in the SNES version, he'll actually stay up there for most of the fight. Like, if they start losing, he'll come down and help, but, you know, he realizes, hey, I'm a leader, I should take care of myself, I should not get myself killed off super early on. In this one, and in the Japanese version too, before, you know, anyone mentions that the AI is better in that one, he'll do it just the same. Because, yeah, the AI is better in terms of it uses more of its abilities, but it's still just as dumb in terms of its actual decisions. You know, for example, like right there, you could be forming a defensive line on that bridge, you could be having your archers attack my most useful guy, or something. Instead they're like, nah, I need to heal 25 health on this guy that's gonna die anyway. I think this theme is probably the worst offender in terms of that horrible chipping sound. Alright, we got that guy there. Yeah, Orjo is coming closer, but he's not quite here yet. So let's pop up here. Do a tremendous. They're gonna do a couple more heals up there. I'm guaranteed to kill off this one. I don't know if the arrow's gonna hit. Oh, never mind, he's gonna parry it. Or rather, deflect it. There he goes. So there's the spot. Or rather, there's one of the spots. So if you crit him and he falls down into the water, when the fight ends, it'll, like, he won't even get his death dialogue, it will just completely skip everything. And you won't get the Codex of Gems, he just won't drop it. It's kind of a bizarre glitch, but yeah, you don't wanna crit this guy off a bridge into the water. I think we should be fine if he's already in the water, but we'll see when that happens. We will see. Can definitely hear the crackling. Okay, I will shut off the crackling then. I thought you were going off to work, Mr. Evan. What happened? Did you just have the quickest job assignment in history? Aw, little dragoon that could. Actually, come to think of it, after this castle fight, we should have access to all the class marks we could ever want anyway. Actually, is Canopus' turn coming up? Yeah, it is. Hello there, Mr. Orjo. Did you take your extra turn? You sure did. Good job, Monsieur Chuckles. Alright. And now if... whatever. I'm just gonna leave it on auto. Be right back. Gotta go check on my kiddos. Alright, kiddos are fine and sleepy-like. Alright, let's see. 3:30 got cancelled, 3 ended early, so now you're stuck with me. Alright, well, fine. I guess we'll just go ahead and make that work then. But here's the real question. Aren't you really stuck here with me? Actually, no, because you probably could just exit out at any point, and that might be a better option for your sanity. However, I do appreciate you sticking around, so yeah, there's that. Any dang ways, no amount of healing they could ever do will save or show here, so we'll just fast forward real quick. Or, I guess we won't. I'm going to stop the fast forwarding, at least for this theme. For some of the other ones, it's less noticeable, but this one is, oh, real bad, real bad. Actually, you know what it was? Now that I think about it, was it him getting shot off the bridge, or was it him getting counter crit off the bridge that did it? Huh. Now that I think about it, I'm not actually sure. Either way, you can definitely mix the Codex of Gems by somehow glitching them out in this map. But alrighty then. Then we move this guy here. And I'll strategically vaporize this guy. Pew! Goodbye. Thank you for your Codex of Gems. Yeah, so close, he says. The thing is, it wasn't very close. Or not. I guess it's in one of the other ones in this route. You do get, Orjo does drop the Codex of Gems in one of the routes. Probably Chaos or something. One of them. Actually, Evan, if we're stuck with you here, then we have to have your character here, you know? There we go. In fact, I kind of want the rest of these guys... Nah, you know what? No. The rest of them have had their training. And what kind of extra classes can you use now? So Dragoons, no, we still have not gotten that many class marks for a lot of this other stuff. I want to get Wizards up, just to get them some better casting abilities, but Warlocks are probably going to be better for that. Swordmasters for evasion, Dragoons because I'm going to use them, Ninjas for agility, so... Alright. Okay, then we get Apollinaire. Ooh! God dang it. 1 sec, please. Alrighty, and back. Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird choice of words. That's for sure. Definitely one of the weirder ones. But yeah, different, kind of up there in the cool factor. I guess it's more like just over time it wound up kind of taking some weird meanings. Actually, come to think of it, I don't think I've ever heard it used anywhere else. I think this was the only time I've ever seen it used. Huh. Wonder what that's all about. Anyway, just like before though, so she's gonna be a knight, so it's just gonna be 2 shots from Canopus. No real issue here whatsoever. Get everybody their extra stats. I think like over the course of this entire thing, we've gotten everyone's stats up like 5 to 10% across the board. So yeah, it's the entire game is balanced. It's funny because the entire game is balanced off the fact that, well, they shouldn't be getting base stat gains. Like, it almost makes me wonder in a lot of cases if it was like a last-minute addition that, you know, maybe the balancing department wasn't aware of what happened, or who knows what. Where, like, they just balanced everything out, and they're like, hey, we forgot to add base stats from the original game and from all the other FFT games and stuff. Let's add that in there! And then they just threw it in there, and it just completely broke the game in half. But who knows? Like the Japanese version, seriously, by this point, these characters would have max stats. They would have 100 in everything, more or less. Because, yeah, like in this one, it's 0.1 to 0.3 per level. In that one, I believe it's 0.5 to 1.5 in every stat per level per class. So, yeah. Completely broken. Not even remotely close. Like, seriously, I think I had like 60 to 70 across the board base stats for everyone by the... Just... Let's see, was it... Or was it? I want to say like by the end of chapter 2-ish. Let's see, there's a game called Blackguards, also its sequel, Blaggards Do Not Do It Justice. Okay, Blackguard I can vaguely picture as an insult there. Actually, come to think of it, Blackguards. That does... Have I heard of it, or am I just automatically reinserting that in my brain right now? So you do not know the past of this man that you call your ally, Pants. So yeah, friggin' genocidal maniac. Though, to be fair, I mean, I guess those were his orders or whatever. Though, I like to picture Yunin as the main character from, Spec Ops: The Line? Where, like, he just went completely nuts for a while, and then he just, like, looked back like, oh man, the guy I was hunting was actually dead the whole time, and, I kind of, sort of, accidentally blew up an entire city. Whoops. Just big ol' whoops. Sometimes you pull a hard whoops during your day. Alright. Yeah, you know, I wonder what happened with Terror Knights between all the other games and this one. Like, how is it that specifically in Lucked they suck? Because in all the other games, they're kind of okay. Like, okay, take OB64 as an example. Or rather, no, let's take a step back. Let's look at Black Queen, for an example. Like, you start off there, and their whole shtick is just they hit pretty hard, and then they've got a casting ability. Then they come back in OB64, and they're like a suckier version of the Paladin for evil people. Even though that's clearly not what they were meant to be, but they apparently didn't know how to balance it, so whatever. Alright. Anyway, so, you know, you go through all that. In Knight of Lotus, they actually just get removed completely, and they just get made into an emblem. And then, yeah, in the original, they at least, like, I guess they had that debuff ability. They had a global morale reduction around them. Like, everywhere they went, there was just everyone's terrified of them. So, okay, you know, fair enough. That's pretty cool. Their stats were trash, but, I mean, it's a cool ability at any rate. I don't know what happened here. Here, they're just bad. Like, okay. To point out, like, look, he's doing the exact same damage to a caster hybrid and a heavy unit. If we compare him to a berserker, the berserker has way more defense. The guy whose actual title says this guy is completely unconcerned with his own defense has higher defense than the one who's, you know, in full plate. Archers, taking less damage. Friggin' healers taking slightly more, but whatever. Got over here, this guy, still taking less damage than she is. Like, it's weird. It's really weird how they were balanced. They were somewhat squishy in OB64, true, but still, I mean, they still hit pretty hard. I will say they probably would have been a lot more useful if you weren't limited to just using the friggin' Belova to go and make them, because that kind of limited you to about 3 of them per an entire run, whereas you could get, well, functionally unlimited numbers of paladins, so there's that too. And yeah, right now, Apollinaire is using the one and only ability that can counter the Archer Rush, which is Phalanx. It's a very annoying and stupid ability. Let's just say that the OV version, it was changed to be a better version of Rampart Aura for a reason. Because yeah, Phalanx is just stupid. It's just straight up stupid as an idea. Because really, what function does this serve? I mean, they already can just sit there, nothing's going to target them, there's no reason for them to delay their turn for half a dang hour in order to just sit there and be slightly more tanky. Like, in full armor, any knight in this game will just not get attacked. Like, just a sword and board knight, they do not get targeted. They can get hit by AoE, that's about it. But yeah, so it's completely pointless from that perspective. It takes a surprising amount of points, and its functional only purpose is to cause injuries to your units, because you're sitting there waiting for their dang ability to expire. There are some abilities to counter it, but they start off at about a 30% chance to work, so yay. There's that. So Threaten can remove it. You've also got, I think Dispel can remove it, but I'm not sure. Anyway, what's funny is that yeah, if you're good enough, you can eventually get to a point where you can just power straight through it. Even with his utter overpoweredness right now, he's still doing almost no damage. We're just gonna have him wait. I mean, he only needs one shot anyway. Let's fast forward through this real quick. Alright, you guys almost done? Or are you almost done? Alright, so Apollinaire took her turn. Come on, Canopus. Come on, Canopus. Everyone else is just gonna get knocked out. Who cares? Because these fights last about 2 seconds anyway. Alright, that does 182, 165. Alright, fine. We'll use this, though, so it's not building up our TP at all. Kind of annoying, though. One guy's gonna take an injury. Eh. I guess technically I could just go ahead and let Denim have a turn. She's gonna have her turn, unfortunately, so she's probably just gonna go Phalanx up, because of course she will. In fact, it almost would have made sense to attack her directly, because then she would have had 100, then she would have gone for her kill move. Whatever. Manual. Uzak. Would you stop barking at people? What is your issue? Sorry for hitting the mic there for a sec. Alright. Yeah, like I said, for a good portion of the game, there's really no reason to actually pay any attention whatsoever to tactics. Because, really, you can just do this. Alright, let's go get rid of this one. Trying to just fast forward through it because we're literally just doing whatever until her stupid ability expires. Like I said, it's kind of annoying. What kind of annoying? It's extremely annoying, in fact. Because they're not winning, they're not really doing anything, they're literally just delaying. I mean, the ability was, quite frankly, balanced for multiplayer. That's the only time it would ever be useful, and quite frankly, no one's playing multiplayer. Like, there was... Hell, there isn't even a functional multiplayer, that's the thing. You can make challenge teams, and you can send those challenge teams to someone. There isn't like a full-bore multiplayer of any description. So, that being the case, it's bizarre that so many of the skills were balanced for it. Like, for example, traps, the fact that you have just a skill for disarming them. There's no point to it, because no one's ever using traps. There's 2 maps, I believe, that actually have traps in them, and both of them are late to post-game. There's only 1 class that can use traps altogether, and they're completely non-threatening, as in the unit in question is extremely squishy and has to put themselves out in the open, and basically they just put down a trap that is on one specific tile, and will give them 1 debuff. And those debuffs are just better used by literally anyone else from a distance. Not to mention, at any point, somebody can just go up and use an item. Like, they can just, like, let's say they want to inflict breach, right? Why would they put down a trap? They can just go up and say, okay, you know, we're going to go ahead and use this wine on you. You got it in the very first fight. So at this point, you're going to go get breached with 100% success. There's no chance for anything to go wrong there. There's just no point in it. Alright, so we got all this. I don't actually know if we run into her at this point. I don't remember. Let's see, I had a good idea for TO or FFT multiplayer, but I don't know how it would work in reality. Like what? Oh, can't retreat. Good, this is the one, this is the one, this is the one. Okay, let's get you out of here, and let's get you out of here. Yes! It's the one we can actually get Ravenous. Actually, this is the other one. This is another one of the ones that's unique to this game, I believe. Or maybe not. It actually could have been in Night of Lotus as well. And yeah. I love how they just completely work her up here as like, this is the most amazing character ever! Like, dude. She is somebody that came from a, like, mixed race background. Who gives a crap? That doesn't make them a frickin' unicorn! They just blow it so completely out of proportion, it's not even funny. Alright, you're gonna be melee. I mean, we're pretty over-leveled, but a lot of these guys are completely unequipped. Although, yeah, there's a massive number of units to fight with, so I'm going to need Canopus sped up ASAP here. I actually forgot how many units there are to fight with, so we'll do that. I mean, as far as multiplayer goes, even the multiplayer that they left in with this game is... It's bizarre, because technically speaking, during the fight, everybody gets scaled up to 50. But the thing is, when you're putting the teams together, the abilities all the way up to 50 don't unlock. So, meaning, if somebody has Strength in 4 and another one is locked to Strength in 1, there's nothing they can do about that. So, yeah. It's janky. It's really janky. It's one of those cases where it doesn't make anyone sense why anybody would really use it. It's why, quite frankly, most people that even played this game don't remember that that feature's even in there. Because no one ever looked at it. It's just very badly implemented. With one vision, though... Okay, so cool thing, though. So, with one vision, because of the fact that there's no ranked skills or whatever, it works okay. Like, it actually works pretty decent. You can do some pretty cool what-if battles and that kind of thing. So, very solidly implemented there. I mean, I should point out, the way that the skills are done is solidly implemented. There aren't any that are specifically balanced for multiplayer that doesn't exist. Actually, based off of that, it almost makes me wonder if at some point in development, you know, there were supposed to be more, like, more multiplayer elements to it, because it's weirdly detailed. You can set up entire scripts for them to go and use. Like, you can actually set up, like, you do your first attack, you take your X number round, you drop to critical health, or you drop to some percentage of health, or you attack a certain type of unit, or whatever else, and you can just set up entire scripts for them to follow, and, like, you can do full stories and everything. And it's clear that this was meant to be, like a community feature kind of thing. You set up maps for them to be fought on. It isn't just one thing. You can go on a good number of the maps. But yeah, it's odd. It's odd that there's so much work put into that, but then so little into the actual end game balancing. But again, it just goes back to the same thing where it was actually just kind of rushed out the door at the very end. So, they basically finished the original version, then apparently started doing DLC stuff, and they tried to rebalance the Western version by making base stats go up slower. I mean, it kind of sort of worked a little bit. It's not super easy, but then at times it also becomes unreasonably difficult. Like, if you've ever wondered about the DLCs, they're actually possible in the Japanese version, like when you run into them. Because you're getting so many extra stats that levels don't matter nearly as much, but yeah. Definitely could have been handled better. Let's just put it that way. Let's see, both teams pick from the exact same pool of units, blind their opponents. Obviously balance would be an issue in vanilla restrictions. Terrain would have to be balanced, but still offer obstacles and elevation. Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. I would like that. They probably just equalize their level and have everybody, just pick everybody from a pool. Or rather, just you have one entire team that both sides pick from, but then, like, it goes back and forth. One picks one picks another, that kind of thing. It sounds like it could be really darn fair. You know what? Huh. I think we might be able to do a community versus kind of thing with this. I'm gonna have to think it through a little bit, but I have some ideas. Actually, yeah, using the multiplayer in this, like, basic, vague thoughts that I'm going through here, is, yeah, if we use your idea there, we, put together a team of, let's say, like 2 of every class or whatever else, with more or less identical skills, just a bunch of set units and stuff like that, kind of XCOM-esque. Like, the multiplayer in that, for all the crap it got, it actually was pretty good. Anyway, like, especially the second one, that mess is pretty sweet. There we go, 1 unit deleted every round he moves. And in fact, I'm running a little bit short on time, so I'm going to go ahead and set him to manual, so I can have him speed up Canopus, aka Murder Boss Almighty over here. But yeah. How would that... Yeah, so set up, like, let's say 1 of every type of beast unit, but then 2 from near every class, or just maybe 1 of every class with, I don't know, maybe a couple build variations or something like that. I'd actually have to check what kind of restrictions would have to be there. Probably, let's see. Yeah, I think with codes, I could make a completely fair team that way. And then everybody just goes back and forth, like, one person looks away from the chat or whatever else, and then we build a team for them, and then the next person looks away, and then the team's built for them. And then, yeah, the 2 just kind of, like, duke it out based off whatever they picked. Alright. We need some of these. Let me get some healing abilities in here. Spirit Surge. He's been wasting his points, hasn't he? Crap. Crap. What can I do here? I guess best I can do is have him munch on a leaf and sit here. Hello there, Christotep. Doing pretty darn decent. Actually, just about wrapping up the run for today. How are you? Hopefully pretty decent yourself? Okay, Ravenous, please, after all that effort, don't get yourself killed. Please. I'm asking you real nice here. Hopefully that knight's really slow. That's all I can really hope for. Yeah, I'm thinking probably after this run, I really want to do this for One Vision as well. Because I've tried and failed the One Vision version of this a few times, just because you can't power through and just completely mindless a whole bunch of it. But yeah, definitely plan to do another attempt at that at some point down the line. Alright, first things first, keep her alive. You're fine? Well, that's good. Fine is good. Fine is dandy. Alright. Exposed denim to be attacked. We're going to have one guy taking an injury. No worries. Lizards seem to be mopping up real good up there. And that knight is getting to be a bit of a pain in the dingus. Let me do... Oof. I'm sorry. Please go ahead and delete yourself. Jeez. More than double your health. Whoops. Yeah, it's so easy to power game this thing. And again, this is funny because this is the rebalance version. Well, that is to say, it's the second rebalance. Like, honestly, at this point, I think it's fair to call like One Vision a remake of the remake. What do you guys think? Okay, what else do we want to do here? Yeah, I think we've pretty much won it. Actually, yeah, we don't even have to take an injury. We can just get this one back up on his feet. We have stones to spare. And yeah, I'm gonna fast forward it a little bit because I only got a couple minutes left. And I gotta get running. Gotta get doing stuff. There's a whole bunch of stuff I actually gotta get done very, very quickly. Ended up spending more time on this than I thought. And here I was like, no, you suck! Wait. How did that miss? How did miss? I don't understand, but no complaints. Alright. Please don't hit her. Okay, that's fine. That doesn't do damage. Okay, they've got a healer up there. They won't really matter. You're there, you're there. You've got to turn right before the archer. Yeah, I'm gonna need you on manual. It's an entirely different experience. Very true. Very, very, very true. Like, this is... I find myself going between the two versions all the time. To be completely honest, because yeah, it is very, 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 very different. Do I do resilient, or what the hell do I do on you? Fortify? Wish I could just use that on her. Yeah, let's do fortify, so maybe she doesn't get targeted. Like, surely there must be a naked person for you to shoot at. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Take out my guys. Whatever. I don't care too much. Right. Dead. Don't like the idea of her sitting there with a kill move, but hoping for the best here. She's a little farther away. Right, sidestep on you, just in case. Good. Yeah, I think she actually might have... Yeah, okay, whatever. I think she might have only come in with rank 1, actually. Yeah, go figure. Like, this got very, very, very close, and... Oof. I don't know. Don't like how close this got. But yeah, so in terms of the whole different experience thing, yeah, so they are obviously very different, but I still find myself going back and forth between the two all the time. Just because I prefer the balance of One Vision, but there's just, I don't know, there's something to the original, you know? Sometimes you just really want to play some of the original, even if you know for a fact that everything is janky as hell, and maybe it is the jank. Okay. There we go, so she saved one of the best characters you can recruit, and very, very, very almost died. And okay, there we are. And through all that bullcrap, there's still the option to not recruit her. Why would you not? Anyway, so there's that. That's going to be it for today. I have to get going here, because again, a bit more time than I wanted. Thank you guys for stopping by. Have a fantastic one, and actually, yeah, let's try this whole rady type of thingy. I don't know if he's doing anything. Let's see about annoying Pan somewhat. Bam. There we go. Don't know if that'll do anything, but yeah. I'm gonna start heading out then. Take care.